Hey everyone, welcome to Live at Heroic Episodes. I'm Lisa Regina, the founder of the nonprofit A Right to Heal and the creator of Heroic Episodes. And we meet here every Thursday at 7 p.m. with veterans, artists, and advocates, all who have chosen to turn their pain into purpose, to create, to heal, to inspire, and I know firsthand as a survivor that storytelling can truly be healing, not just for the person who's sharing their story, but for anyone who may be listening. And my co host, Barry Morgenstein, renowned photographer and patriot, is not here tonight. He's off. He's actually at a Broadway show. He went to see Color of Fear with Adrian Brody, which leads me to our guest and our topic tonight of winning, filmmaker Andre Joseph is here. And I created this show so we could talk to artists like Andre and hear how they've used storytelling and the medium of film and art to turn pain into purpose. And Andre is an award winning filmmaker. His films, Vendetta Games and The Last Vendetta, are streaming now on Tubi and Amazon Prime. I've had the pleasure of knowing Andre for many years. He's cast me in his films as an actress. And most importantly, his film Dismissal Time, I got to do a little producing and casting. Some of my actors were in his film Dismissal Time. But most importantly, that film is based on a true story, an unfortunate, painful experience that Andre experienced as a high school student. Um, and the film is based on racism and bullying. And it just gives me so much pleasure to have Andre here tonight. I consider him a friend, a colleague, someone I admire and respect. He truly has the independent film spirit. No matter what, he gets it done. And he has turned Dismissal Time into an advocacy program, which I find extremely admirable. Let's welcome Andre Joseph. How you
Hello,
doing,
Lisa.
Andre? How are you?
Doing well. How's everything with you?
Good, good. I'm so happy to see your beautiful face, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's been a while. But I love that despite the amount of time that goes by, I feel like we don't miss a beat.
Oh, not at all. It's like yesterday, even when we were doing the movie.
Exactly. So I did, I known you for so long. I didn't realize you started filmmaking at 13 years old. That's amazing. Tell me about, like, how did that start? What type of camera did you have back then, and how did that passion begin?
Yeah,
I
that passion it
Mhm.
began with me just, as a kid, if I wasn't really into school, I just wanted to go home. I wanted to play with my action figures and I wanted to watch my cartoons or whatever movies were on cable. And the thing that I did with my action figures was I always took the figures, especially if they came from like a movie like Star Wars or Ghostbusters or RoboCop, and I'd start doing role playing. I'd start doing like my own different scenarios that I would see that the movies were not doing. And then it was right around, I'd say I was 12 or 13, and my uncle had just gotten a camera and he was living with my grandmother. And I used to go to my grandmother's a lot in Brooklyn, where my cousins would also hang out. So we were always writing different ideas. We were doing skits and we wanted to borrow this camera, but because we were so young, he wouldn't let us do it. So now, fast forward, it's 1997. We're on a vacation in South Carolina with my mom. She's just gotten one of those Sony cameras where you take like the little tape and you put it in the VHS.
Oh my
And
gosh, yeah.
yeah, and I convinced her to shoot like a murder mystery around our hotel because we made a couple of friends and we wanted to do this little thing. So what
Love it.
that started was me once I got my own camera, which I think was like a Samsung where you put the VHS into the camcorder. Um, I just started getting my friends together from school on a after school or on a weekend, say, hey, let's go out and shoot a short film.
I love
And
it.
my parents didn't know if I was serious about it, so they had me go to New York Film Academy for a 4 week program over at the Dalton School in Manhattan, and that's where I really learned like the culture shock of blocking actors, lighting, composition, and even editing.
Right.
And pretty much it showed me how hard it was, but it also said, hey, I could do this. And I wanted to actually do it for a living.
Yeah, sure. Challenging and inspiring. You have some actors on here now. Scott Purdy
Yeah.
says, "Hey, Andre." Michael Mazzio, "Hey, guys." Hey, Michael. Hey, Scott. And Pamela Arnell. "Hey, Pam. Thanks for jumping on." Um, I love that you are having fun. You start at a young age, action figures. I'll make you laugh. I was 8 years old using brown paper bags to make puppets and create skits, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I understand that creative mind and how you get lost in creating characters and story. And I guess that's why we click so much, right?
Exactly, yeah, because I love writing little ideas and sometimes combining weird concepts together, and just that became my thing, you know? I mean, as much as the academics are important, I just like being creative and,
Yeah,
having something that I think can inspire people the way the major cinema films inspired me growing up.
right. And before we get on to dismissal time, which of course is a really deep, deep, meaningful project to you and to many others, to myself being part of it, I just want to talk about Vendetta Games and The Last Vendetta because
Mhm.
that's streaming on Tubi and Prime. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know what a hard process that is to get it to a streaming platform, not just to write, produce, film, but then get it distribute it. Um, what inspired you with Vendetta Games and The Last Vendetta? Because there's a lot of action, and I want to learn more about where that came from, the inspiration.
Oh, so that came from just my love for like buddy movies and TV shows like Miami Vice growing up and wanting to kind of do that because I felt like the Hollywood versions were not really up to my standards. So I said, let me do a story where you have two DEA agents, one who's a family man, and then the other one who's got more of a dark history and he keeps it from everybody over the course of the films. And so, there's actually three movies because the first one we did, Dishonorable Vendetta, which it's on Prime Video, that was done pretty much on the cheap, but we had a lot of really great actors and special effects involved. Really, we stepped it up on the action with the other two films. And over the course of it, you just see the relationships evolve. One guy that's, you know, got this big chip on his shoulder. He's trying to move on, but he can't. And then his partner who feels like he's just a team player, but then ultimately starts to realize maybe he needs to step up when things start to fall apart within the department. And so that has been, a hard process with those films. But the last one we did, The Last Vendetta, I think was the one I'm the most proud of because it really everything stepped up from the action to the performances and the overall story to try to conclude it because we threw everything in, including the kitchen sink.
That's challenging when you have that type of action. Like, do you work with the same stunt coordinator each time? I know it's really important for safety and also to make it look authentic. So do you work with the same stunt team or is it a new team each time?
It's usually a new team each time. In this case, we had a martial artist named Mako-san. He has a martial arts school out in the Bronx, and I had worked with him on a GI Joe fan film the year before we shot, and I said, "You got to play the villain in this movie, and maybe help me out with the stunts."
Right.
And let me tell you something. I always tell the story that the first day on set, he calls me up and says he's going to be a character when he comes to set. And I'm like, I don't know now because with method actors, they could sometimes you have to pull teeth with them. But no, once he got on, it was like he knew when to turn it on and turn it off and keep everybody
Nice.
safe, have fun. And let me tell you something, that guy is such a joy to work with, so humble. I know he's got some big projects in the works. And yeah, he was just like maybe some of what I did in that film was just, I was grateful for him to even be involved.
Oh, cool. What's his name again?
Mako san.
Mako-san. Oh, very cool. What style of martial arts? He probably does a lot of different, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a variety of different styles. I couldn't really nail it down to one, but I've met many of his students who have been fantastic and also highly skilled too.
Excellent. I'm putting your website up there for anyone
Yeah.
that wants to reach out to Andre Joseph. Um, Also, I just want to put this up
Mhm.
for Linktree. I was telling Andre earlier, I thought that was a mistake because the dot comes before the EE, but that is in fact the correct link. I love it. Um, and I like your headshot as well. Um, Now, it definitely looks like you have some makeup on here. What was going on in this scene? What's,
Okay, so the
can you,
context of that story, and I'm going to share a funny story with you on this.
uh-huh,
This is in the third act where my character gets captured by the villains, and there's supposed to be like an exchange that goes on, and I try to break free from it. So we never shot the part where I actually get ambushed and beat up by Mako-san. But the funny thing was, the day we shot, actually Chris Carula, who plays my partner in the film, he did my makeup because he also does that for fun, like for Halloween when he does cosplay. So he took a
great.
picture of me and I posted online, and I just tried to say something badass. And I'm like, oh, to hell and back. You're not gonna believe how many people on my friend's feed actually messaged me thinking I got beat up on the subway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like,
Well,
no, guys, it's for a movie. I didn't really
yeah.
get jokes.
Unfortunately, that could be the case, but I'm glad it was not. Yeah, no, it looks good. I love it.
Yeah.
I love makeup, special effects. I love to watch, stunt coordinators and how it's choreographed because it has to look authentic and real and seamless, and you have to be safe at the same time. you know, it's great. I also wanted to just like talk to you about how your um, your demeanor on set, and I know this from my experience as an actress working with you. I just want to talk to you as a friend here and say it's calm, it's collected, it's respectful, and it's such a pleasure to work with you that you bring out the best in actors because of that kindness and that nurturing feeling that you get when you're on set uh, with you. So I just wanted to say you know I think that's really special. I've worked with some directors who aren't as kind and nurturing, and
Um,
yeah, and I'm sure you have as well.
yeah, I seen
Hi,
them.
Ty Warner. Ty Warner is on. Yeah, and you remind me a little bit. I was on set with Ron Howard,
Mm,
and he was very calm and gentle the way he spoke to the actors. Um, who was on set? It was Beautiful Mind. That film,
okay.
Beautiful Mind. And I took the background work. There were only 10 actors in the scene. And I did it because I wanted to watch him work. Because, I mean, hey, it's Ron Howard directing. How come I can't think of his name? The actor, the one that did Noah, the one that did
Oh, Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe. I'm sorry. Yes, yes. And I also, of course, wanted to watch him work as well. And whenever an actor gets a chance to be in an intimate setting, with only 10 other background actors, it's really an opportunity to learn. And Ron Howard was just so kind and gentle, soft spoken, and yeah. So your demeanor, your attitude towards everyone is so kind, and I just think that's why you are successful. So
Thank you.
yeah, I appreciate you. Um, Now, dismissal time is a perfect example of the things that you and I have in common and our beliefs, our approach to storytelling and our passion for mission. And my nonprofit, A Right to Heal, as you well know, came out of my survival as a domestic violence survivor and using writing and filmmaking as a healing tool. And I think that, you know, it's always a little bit painful. It's empowering, but it's still a little bit painful to recall something that happened to you that was hurtful, painful, traumatic, put it into writing and share it. I think it takes courage too to share an experience that's painful. So tell for those that are on here that don't know you, I know your story, I know what happened, but share with us, you know, that time of your life as a high school student, what happened? And then all these years later, turning it into a film, writing it, and how you got to that point.
Yeah, so in my freshman year, I attended a co-ed Catholic school in Staten Island, New York. And, I was probably one of the few black kids in my classroom as far as the student body was concerned. There was a girl that I really liked who was not of my race. She was white. And she had quite a few friends that didn't like me, made jokes. Even she made jokes every now and then.
Mm.
And then one day I kept hearing this rumor that I had written a hit list of students I didn't like that I wanted to kill. And I thought it was BS because, like I'm I'm just trying to get out of school, make films, make friends. I'm not, trying to go and harm anyone. But then a few months passed, and then the Columbine shooting happened, and this was in the spring of
Mm,
'99.
right.
The very next day, I get called up by the guidance counselor to go to his office. I didn't know what I did, but he confronts me with a physical copy of this list, and I told him, "Look, that's not me. That may be my email address, but I never you can even check my computer right now. I did not write this." So, it became this whole big to-do where they interviewed all my teachers, they dragged my parents down to interview them, and they
Mm.
kinda came to the conclusion maybe I didn't do it, but they still were like, "Oh, we'll do a school-wide announcement and tell everybody, this rumor is not true, and, we're getting to the bottom of it." But when they
Right.
did the assembly, they didn't even say anything about it. They just announced the school dance instead, so they clearly had swept it under the rug. And I was so disgusted by it that once the school year was over, I left and I went to a public school where I tried not to stand out.
Right.
So I kept that experience to myself for a pretty long time. And, then when all the things were happening 5 years ago with all the protests, we were all in lockdowns, we were all pretty much dealing with COVID. And I just
COVID.
said,
Mhm.
yeah, I gotta write something about my experience because it seems like we're at this moment where we have to sort of confront these things head on. And
Right.
if I'm ever gonna deal with this, because I still had nightmares about that period, I need to do it as a short film, and I wasn't gonna wait around for it.
Yeah. That's
And,
traumatic. And it makes sense why it would stay with you all these decades.
yeah,
Absolutely.
because it
Yeah.
really did affect, I would say, particular relationships that I tried to get into romantically, or even when I
Mm.
was in college, like at Emerson, the first thing I saw was, oh, there's a lot of white students here. I'm afraid the same
Mm.
thing's going to happen. I want to hang out with the Black Caucus over here and try to not have a problem. It was that kind of PTSD I was having for a while.
Right. Um, Hello, Rob Langston is a veteran. He's on here and making just a point to say hello, but not to pull focus from what you're
Yeah,
talking about, Andre. I I hate that that happened to you. That's terrible that happened. You're right, Scott Purdy. It is. I I see you as my friend, my colleague. I don't see your color. I see your kindness. I see your talent. So I hate that that happened. And I understand like this was decades ago, but that doesn't diminish the pain of it and the shame of it. And as far as sweeping it under the rug, I hate that the school did that. I love that you turned your pain into purpose. I love that you wrote about it and maybe COVID was that time to open you up to, okay, I need to share this and it's still part of me and I recognize it and it's time to do that. That expression out of bad comes good.
yeah,
I mean, even with my assault, I never planned to be the poster child of domestic violence. I never planned to be on the path of advocacy, but I was pursuing screenwriting, acting, right? But something wonderful came out of that pain, and dismissal time is surely your wonderful. I mean, I'm just going to put a couple of pictures up here because during COVID, of course, we have masks on here. But here are some of my young actors that I was able to cast in your film, and who really felt deeply about your story, and they were so moved and honored to be there. And I think that just turning that into a project that's impactful and Yes, Rob Langston. Andre, awesome. Be a warrior, not a victim.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes, I love that. Everyone is so supportive, and that's great. And again, here we are in the classroom with the actors, but the fact that you're not only uh, using the medium of film to tell your story, to share the traumatic experience, to raise awareness, but to turn it into a bigger purpose, bright spot advocacy program. Can you share with us how did that come out of Dismissal Time the film, and what exactly is the mission of that program?
Well, it came out from just going to film festivals and talking to people and seeing not only that the problem was still persisting in schools, but just seeing how the story related to just about anybody. It didn't matter if you were a black or a woman or gay or straight, it doesn't matter. The fact was, I felt there was a problem with our schools where we're not really addressing these problems seriously, because it's always the case of, well, let the parent deal with it, let somebody else go through the situation. But sometimes
Yeah.
maybe the academics are not enough. Sometimes you do have to take a stop and deal with a kid's mental health in a responsible way. So
Yes.
I worked with a coach, and she also went to my college, and we both kind of came with this idea of, why don't we do something where we go to schools and we do this program where we're trying to show how teachers and students can hold each other accountable when
Mhm.
a misdeed or an injustice takes place. And there's like a sort of a role playing thing that's based around the film, to have the people kind of role play scenes from the film, but then have to do the reverse of it. So
Ah,
having to do,
yeah.
yeah, like the teacher becomes a
Role
student, the student becomes a teacher.
reversal.
Right, to see what it feels like and figure
Yes.
out how to engage a conversation, to figure out solutions, whether it's a legislative solution or just something
Right.
more practical. And I haven't been able to implement it yet because obviously with schools, there's a lot of policy, there's rules, regulations, but I still have a mission to get this film out there to be screened, because I really do believe, like, even as I hear stories every now and then of things still going on in this
Right.
hostile environment, that I feel like this needs to be seen because I know the impact it can have.
It can have such a positive impact. And Dr. Joshua Cohen is one of our partners that I'm so proud of, because he uses the medium of therapy, the medium of film and video based therapy. And it is so impactful. And I really admire that you are looking at it as, how can I come up with a program that will give students a positive experience, raise awareness for the bullying, the racism, the wrongdoing, whatever is happening in these schools that administrators feel uncomfortable with, or feel like they need to push it away, to ignore it. They're afraid to. I don't know what the issue is. I'm sure each individualized case is different, but the fact that you're creating a program from Dismissal Time the film is so beautiful, because role reversal is the best way for someone to understand how the other person feels. I mean, step into their shoes, right? It's like that cliche expression, you don't know until you've walked a mile in my shoes, and that's the truth. You really don't know how someone feels. And to allow the students to have that role reversal, it could be really awakening. It could really open their mind, and it could impact change. And that's what's most important. What pains me is to see people use violence to try to
Mhm.
impact change. And this show is not political at all.
Right.
It's just artists, advocates. It's all about, there's so much division, there's so much negativity. Okay, let's get artists on, and veterans and advocates that can talk about the good stuff they're doing. Good people doing good things. It's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
And I think we need more of it. And it just pains me to see, groups of teens going out and causing violence or destroying property, or, because to me it takes so much more heart to do what you're doing, to learn from a traumatic experience, to have the courage to share what you've been through, to put it into something creative, and then open it up and share it with others so they might be able to learn, heal, be inspired. I mean, it's amazing. And, I mean this, I'll help you in any way I can to get in schools. I know initially I had reached out to some schools, and I know there's a lot of layers to
Yeah,
the educational system, but that doesn't mean we stop, because look at you get your films done and you get them on streaming platforms.
yeah,
So nothing's impossible. It's just not it's how are we going to do it. It's just figuring out the right alignment, the right schools that will recognize the value in dismissal time and
exactly.
your bright spot program. um, I love that people are on here being supportive. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching, and please, please go to Andre's site. I'm going to pull it up here. Well,
Mhm.
that's his link tree, and his site is. I'm going to pull up his Instagram as well, because AJ Epics Productions is Andre's film production company, and his website is pretty easy to remember there, andremjoseph.com. Um, Working with students, what's that like? I mean, I love my young actors, but for you, like, how does that feel when you're teaching them filmmaking? And give us a little overview about what you teach them and what that feels like for you.
Well, I think for me, working with the students is essentially keeping it as simple and as basic as possible because I know I've been to like panel discussions and different workshops where usually the teachers try to make it sound like this is a hard thing to get into. You don't want to get into this business. It's going to destroy your soul. I don't take that approach. I was fortunate when I went to New York Film Academy that I had some really good instructors. One in particular, Booker Madison, who now does made for TV movies for BET and for Tubi originals. He was somebody that was just like me, very calm, collective, and always got to the heart of the story. So working with students, I'm always looking at what is it that's going to make you your most authentic self when you're making a movie. So you teach them enough basics to understand that, you don't need millions of dollars to go out and to produce a movie. You just need even as much as your phone now, the resources around you, and you can
Right.
make something that doesn't break the bank.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do now in our new studio facility located at Vincent City Studios. Is I want to try to be able to get students to come in and just learn basics of like 3-point lighting or to learn about composition. The things that I think will separate them from just somebody on a TikTok doing their social media deal, which is good too. But what can you do to enhance it? How do you tell a story in 3 acts that people can easily digest and understand?
Absolutely. Um, Scott Birdie is saying, and older actors.
Oh, definitely. We're always open to older actors too, that are starting late.
Scott, you can attend Andre's class. Just reach out to him. That's funny. You're not that old. Come on. Never too old to learn.
No,
Um,
not at all.
I'm putting your banner up because Ty Warner asked for your Instagram again. And
Mhm.
Angie Mangelli, Angie Coos, that's her stage name. She's a beautiful singer. She said, "Hi, Lisa and Andre. She's going to be following your journey." So I love that we're building you an audience here as well, which is always nice. Scott is smiling. Scott, man, I love working with Scott, and anything you have coming up, keep him in mind, and of
Oh,
course
definitely.
Michael Mazzio, keep our actors working, Andre.
We got scripts. We're just trying to get them all together.
Yes, I AJ Epics. I love the play on letters here, the acronym.
Mhm.
It's I wanted to say that I think not only are you teaching young students or students, but you're probably also learning from them. Don't you find that? I know I do.
I think so. I mean, even though I've gotten enough in my under my belt with my films, this business is always evolving, especially now with the rise of AI and just how you're seeing right now with the box office movies like Obsession and Backrooms that were made for next to nothing and are making boatloads of cash over the major studio films.
It's
And
crazy.
so there is a change and a wave that's happening in the industry that, sometimes like I feel like I didn't learn enough of when I was in college because they only taught you how to make the movie. There weren't enough classes to teach you actually the business part of it.
Oh
But
yeah.
these kids now, they could pick up a YouTube tutorial and they could do stuff that rivals what these major studios are doing. So when I see these kids now and I work with them, I'm always learning something that's like so mind blowing. Like, oh, I got to really adapt to this thing. This could really be a big help for what I'm trying to do.
Showing off my pretty glass. You're absolutely absolutely right. I think it's incredible when you think back to how casting was done, filmmaking was done, auditions for actors, during COVID, all of a sudden you're doing self-tape auditions and you're in control of your lighting, of everything, right? I know Michael Mazzio doesn't like doing the setup for the self tapes. He prefers to go into a studio. So tell me more about Vintage Studios. Where is it located and what services, like what is the structure there of your program? Do you offer actors self tape facility there, so you can help them with their self tapes?
Yes, so we have two like office size setups that we have, although we do have access to film in the rest of the parts of the building when it's available. And it's located in Elizabeth, New Jersey. If you go to my website, there's like a fill out form if you're interested in a project proposal that you'd like to help us or, if you want to work with us. But yeah,
Mhm.
basically, we have it set up so we're not only just doing our own films, but we also have it open to have other filmmakers want to come in, use our facilities to do their projects, no matter how big or small it may be. We do podcasting, just like we're doing right now, both video and audio. We also offer those classes, as I said, like the base, like 101 basics of filmmaking and cinematography. We also do offer to do self tapes, music videos, and small business promos, because especially around the Elizabeth area, there are a lot of small businesses that could use social media content
Oh
and they
yeah.
may not be versed for video. So we could produce content for them that they could put out on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, wherever they'd like.
That's great because it doesn't matter what the business is, you need to have social media marketing in place.
Yes.
It's a must. You can't get around it, right? Um, the and thank you, by the way, for referring Matthew Merritt, the editor that you've worked with.
Hmm.
Yeah, thank you. I'm working with him, and I really need to get him. And I'm going to ask you right now on air. I'm going to ask you this because I'm looking for an intro for this live show, and I want something that, and maybe we can do a Zoom with Matthew because I need a little help, and I'd love to, you know, pick your brain, hire you for a couple hours, and just be a consultant for me, please, because I need a nice intro that kind of, it's easy to come on and say, hey, I'm Lisa Regina. I'm the founder of A Right to Heal. I'm a survivor. Heroic episodes is my series in development. And we know that the premise of everything is about hope, healing, being inspiring. Everything is, surrounding that, but I need a nice quick cut intro because on social media, if you don't have something that grabs them in
No.
few seconds, then everybody just clicks on to the next thing. Um, it's great to have so many platforms available, but it's also really challenging because you have to be creative and you have to do it in this amount of time.
Right.
So, do you think it's something you can help us out with, Matthew and I?
I think so. In fact, that's something that I've learned recently just by going on YouTube and sometimes you hover on a video before you actually click to play it and you see the first couple of seconds of what that video looks like and realizing how much of a difference that makes from actually somebody that you may not know nothing about you clicking
Right,
versus, oh, I'm just going to find something else.
right. And I guess it goes back to again, another old cliche is the first impression that you make. And
Right.
it's the first 3 to 5 seconds. Like what is your story saying and does it engage your audience, right?
Exactly.
Amazing. I love it. Um, what do you have going on coming up that you want to share? Anything that I've missed or anything that you want to talk about? Because this is a very obviously laid back environment and we could talk about anything you'd like to be, before we wrap out tonight, I just want to make sure we covered it all for you.
Well, one thing I want to say before I start plugging anything is that going back to dismissal time, when I
Yes.
wrote that script, one of the keys to where I felt it would be successful was with the lead character of the teacher that stands up for this kid that's being bullied and accused of wrongdoing. And you were always the one person I wanted to put into that role because I kept thinking so much about that character is a composite of not only the viewpoint of the audience, but also many of the teachers I had that did stick up for me, not just in that situation, but just other things I've been through where anybody else would probably try to give up, but they kind of believed in my abilities or just my good nature. And so, I think you were really a huge key part of the film's success because you really did bring the truth and you brought it hard and you really did have, I think, the heart and soul of the movie overall, you and Oliver and the rest of the cast. And what was so great about everybody that you brought in, whether it was Sarah Dohansky or Kayla Minori and
Yeah.
even Mark Chiappetta's son Max. I mean,
Yes.
everybody that came in really just wanted to do it because they believed in the story. Nobody was doing it for money or any sort of selfish purpose. Like they got it, and that's what I really appreciated about that film.
Well, it was an honor to play that role. And Sharon, that role of Sharon was very close to Sharon Vance was very close to, I think, my heart and soul because
Yeah.
I really um, believe in standing up for what's right. It's the right thing to do. It's pretty simple. And for me, the way I was raised and what I believe in, that's the right thing to do, to stand up for the student who's being bullied and who's being accused of something like a hit list, killing people. That is brutal. That is harsh. That is
Mhm.
shameful. And that is just such a cruel, cruel lie to create because of jealousy or any other reason. And I hate again that you had to go through that as a young teen. Um, and, you know, I think that Sharon, just Sharon was easy for me to bring to life because of those reasons, because of what I believe in, and Angie is saying, Amen. Lisa, oh yeah, I did have a high school experience. Scott Purdy's reminding me, um,
Mhm.
and Angie is saying such a great topic to shine the light on bullying, getting through it. Something she'd love to watch, and that I want to have you share with everyone next how they
Yeah.
can watch Dismissal Time. But Sharon Vance, that role, that teacher. I just wanted to ask you. I think from what I recall, you said she had passed away. That teacher that
Yeah.
stood up for you.
She had passed away actually when I was in eighth grade. But a lot of what I wrote, especially that lunchroom scene, that actually did happen.
Oh wow! And refresh my memory. Was she a veteran? I thought she was military background.
I don't recall if she was a veteran or
No.
not. That was some. I know there was a teacher I had who was in fact a veteran,
Okay.
and also became a politician for a while. So yeah, that was also part of the composite of the character.
Yeah, yeah. I just yeah, I loved it. It was an honor, and I know all my students really loved it.
Yeah,
And what you said, that's what I wanted to say. What you said about everyone not caring about getting paid or the money, it wasn't
yeah.
about that. It was about supporting you, bringing your true story to life, standing up for what's right, and shining the light on these issues, these sensitive issues, but that need to be need light to be shined on them, not thrown under the rug or brushed under the rug. How can others watch Dismissal Time? Because we have people on here that are supporting you, loving you, and they want to know, where do they go to watch Dismissal Time?
So there is a YouTube channel where you can watch the movie for free right now. I think it's just either AJ Epic's Dismissal Time or just Dismissal Time. If you type in my name and the title, it'll pop up. And on that
Okay.
same channel, there's like a mini documentary that I did that breaks down how we made the movie. You'll see the trailers, some interviews, and some extra stuff in there. Some of the film festivals that we've been to.
Okay, so they can go to Andre Joseph on YouTube or Dismissal Time Andre
Yeah.
Joseph. Okay. And do you have any links on your website?
Yeah, if you go under the movies tab, that will be one of the ones listed, and it'll have the link to go directly to the film.
Awesome. That's great. I'll leave that up there. Andre, I think, we're overdue to work together again.
Yes.
No pressure. But I think we are. It's been a while. And, just would love to work together again. And um, everyone that's reaching out here, really thank you for watching tonight. And if you have any questions for Andre, shoot them over now or reach out to his website and follow his journey, follow his work. It's very admirable. You're talented, you're passionate. I remember, what year was it when you did with Robert Clohessy,
Oh,
when we did
Priceless. Yeah, that
Priceless?
was 2007.
2007. Oh my God, we go way
Yeah.
back, don't we?
Yes.
Thank you. You're always a pleasure. Yes, got pretty. So, Andre cast me in his film Priceless, and I was, taking the Staten Island ferry from New York City for the first time, and I go to the ferry, and there's a bunch of NYPD standing around, and they see me like I'm lost, right? And they're like, "You need help, hon? What are you looking for?" I said, "Where do I buy my ticket?" And the police officer goes, uh, "It's free." And I'm like, "What in New York City is free?" You know what I mean? He's like, "The Staten Island ferry is." So I got on that ferry, went across to Staten Island, and you told me to look for actor Robert Clohessy. He would be taking the ferry over as
Hmm.
well. And there he was, humble as could be. He's such a
Yeah.
talented actor. He had his backpack, his sneakers, and he was sitting there. And I went up to him and I said, "Hey, I'm Lisa Regina. I'm in the film as well. And I'm playing I think it was Pam the waitress." And
Hmm.
yeah, and that was just like the beginning of our friendship, of our working relationship. And that's 2007. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Well, I'm so, so grateful that we've been able to stay connected all these years, to support each other. And again, let's get dismissal time out there to the schools. Anyone watching that is in the school system or just passionate about getting a positive message out, please reach out to Andre. I think this is an important message. And unfortunately, bullying has been around for decades, racism, and we want to do things that bring us together, not divide us.
Exactly.
And you, my friend, are doing great work, and I really admire you, and I would love to have you back again.
Yeah, I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Okay. Um, well, we have some message. Andre, totally offshoot question. He's asking about what the tools you're using, AI, et
Yeah.
cetera, to your craft. Yeah, we really didn't delve into the AI part. Um, I don't know, Ty, are you asking him if he likes it? Because there's so much AI out there. Are you using AI in editing, Andre, or writing, or any part of
Well,
your
yeah. I
craft?
mean, I'll be fully transparent. I think for one, it's helped me to organize my production sheets, and I've been experimenting a little bit. Nothing that I've released full blown yet, but you know, I'm trying to see not only can it help in ways to maybe get around expensive shots, but also to figure out like I've seen now some videos where you could take a real actor and just mocap them into like a animated character and not lose the performance, not lose, the essence of the actor. So that is something that I am exploring, but I'm also aware of the implications. And, I've even had some actors now that, they have their clauses of, oh, I don't want to be AI'd or anything. And I get that and I
Right.
respect that too. So I think there's got to be like sort of a delicate balance between the two. Like I don't think I would do like a full blown live action movie like that because then it'll just look
Right.
scary to me. But if it could help me with maybe something like my western that I still can't get off the ground and make it easier with the horses, I'm not
Yeah.
going to rule it out.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I love that you're exploring it. I think for most it's intimidating, but the organizational, skills for that AI offers, I think it's amazing, and it's time efficient when it comes to writing or even acting as an editor on your writing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing how fast you can get stuff done. So thanks for that question, Ty. That's
Mhm.
important because AI is a big part of our world and all our businesses now. So I think it's something to explore. Is just acting what your perspective is on news tools. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Andre, keeping that that organic part of the creative process is important because that's who you are, that organic part of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's just certain emotions that AI cannot just replicate so easily to
Right.
connect to somebody. You look at every great actor, whether it's Meryl Streep or Sean Connery or Gene Hackman or anybody, it's not just they deliver great dialogue, it's what they do when they don't deliver dialogue. When you just have to give a certain look to elicit what they're feeling or what they're thinking in that moment that reads and spells volumes compared to some memorable, catchy line.
Right. You're right. Oh, AI has really sparked some comments here.
Yeah.
Vince Bove, Uncle Vince. He says he has a question. Is there anything to be done to protect children from AI? Yeah, that's a good question. Are you aware of anything?
Yeah, there's safeguards. Like there are things where if you're using real footage of an underage child, and I don't mean for like anything explicit, I'm talking about just like in general.
General.
Yeah, they'll tell you like we can't uh generate this because it violates content guidelines.
Oh, good.
So yeah, there are things like that that keep that from happening, and that's like
That's
across
important.
all the AI that I've seen on different tools.
Good, good. Oh, yeah. We want to protect our children always, of
Yeah,
course.
definitely.
Yeah. And Scott Purdy is saying it can make him better looking.
Yay,
Just think of the money we'll save on plastic surgery.
Yeah, no more
I
double
love it.
chins or anything.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. We've come a long way from black and white headshots being put in 8 by 11 envelopes and brought to the mailbox and mailing them, right?
Yep.
Vince Bove says, thank you, of course. We thank you for
Mhm.
tuning in and everyone that was on here tonight. And before we wrap out, I just want you to know that next week, my guest is Colonel Gregory Gatson, and we are just honored to have Greg on the show. And I am reading his book currently, um, Finding Waypoints. It's powerful, and it's just another example of using writing to heal. And we will learn more about his bravery, his courage, and his service next week. And my co-host Barry Morgenstein will be back next week, and we'll ask Barry for a review on the Broadway play Color of Fear with Adrian Brody. So tune in next week. Andre Joseph, thank you so much for being here, and we'll get you back on here again. And I'm going to get you on Zoom with Matthew Merritt, the editor, and we're
Mhm.
going to work out the intro for this show, Heroic Episodes, live every Thursday, 7 p.m. God bless everyone. You have a great night. Keep an open mind. Keep sharing your story. You never know who might be listening. It's very healing to share it, and also could really help someone who's listening. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. See you next week.